What's up, guys? It's Jody with the Whiskey Rebellion Barcast. I'm sorry, I got laughing because of our electrician down at the bottom. But anyway, he's a white capper, though, so he doesn't work much. But guys, it's a Wednesday night. We're doing this again.
Don't touch it.
Oh, yeah, you've been listening to the show. Sometimes.
You should maybe stop saying that.
Sometimes. But anyway, guys, everybody welcome to the show. Let's talk about what we're drinking. Jay, I'll let you start. Welcome back, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I am sucking down some $18 JW Dant. Fantastic. Kentucky only. It's delicious stuff. Put this up against 1,000 other bourbons. It comes back as a winner. I guarantee it.
JW
18, 20 bucks.
I have not seen that.
It's because it's in Kentucky only. Were you not listening to the first part of it?
We have a topic. We're going to stay on it.
Yeah, John, you're up next. Thank you.
The odd thing is that, the last time I was on the show a couple weeks ago, is I was doing Old Forester with ginger ale. I still haven't killed that bottle, and I really haven't had anything to drink since the last time I was on the show. Today, I'm doing kind of the same type of thing. I'm just doing Buffalo Trace and Bold Canada Dry ginger ale. My back has been killing me to the point where I can barely walk. David knows, right? Scoliosis. But
you brought it back on yourself is what happened.
So that's I'm kind of doing this light so I don't get too far along.
Very well.
Although it does help the back pain go away. So maybe I will go straight, just chug it out of the bottle. Who knows?
Nice. Godfather, welcome to the show, man. What do you have?
Thank you. Tonight I'm drinking Stellam Bourbon, manufactured by the Barrel Spirits Company. It's got a really light nose to it, caramel, not much alcohol on the nose at all. Get a caramel up front, little cranberry, little fruit. But overall, it's a very good pour for $47.99.
With you talking about $47.99, that's not bad at all. But when you were talking about that, it brought me to what I'm having tonight, which is my buddy David, who I still can't stand. He brought me over a bottle of Woodford Reserve's Double Oak. And this is a store pick from the wine cellar in Murfreesboro. And I will tell you, I've heard a lot of people talk about chocolate all the time. They can taste chocolate or this, that, and whatever. This on the front end, as you consume it, has a huge chocolate taste. I mean, it's just, you totally get that. And it's almost as if it's racing, as I described earlier. It's almost like it's racing the proof or the rye taste or maybe the cinnamon that you would normally consume with or have with a consumption of any type of bourbon. And then it finishes off really smoky. And it does have the general things that you would normally pick up in a bourbon. It has the vanilla or the caramel, and then it has the oak taste. It's a double oak, so it definitely has that smoke and oak taste. So that's what I'm having tonight, and I do appreciate the pour.
Sure,
thank you.
Absolutely.
Mark, what are you having?
What's up, my brothers? So I mail call. So I'm starting with Dry Fly. It's a wheater and port finish. This thing is really good. I can't tell you about the notes right now because my hand still smells like hamburger. Washed them about 3 or 4 times. I can't get the damn burger smell out. Well, burger and onion. Taste wise, I get wheat and then I get grapes. It's just weird. Like the grapes come through really strong, which I know a lot of those you're supposed to be able to get that, but hasn't always been my experience. But this one, the grapes really come through. And then my
what was that again? What was that again?
The grapes.
No.
Grapes. Dry Fly.
Okay. Yeah. I might have to definitely give that because we have that around here in the grape taste. I dig that as well. So that would be
really
something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I had to order that. I can't get it here that I've seen anyway. And second is this 896 rum from Barbados. It's not bad. It'll be a good mixer for my West Indian folks. They would like this. Americans, this is probably a mixer. For West Indians, this is one that we would sip all day. We might add Coke. We would walk around and at gatherings and sip and play cards or whatever. And as we say in Trinidad, line, which is to kind of hang out with your buddies and talk smack. be with lime all day with this.
Hmm.
For Americans, probably wouldn't do American. I'm finding Americans tend to like their rums a little closer to scotches. So
Not this dude.
yeah, it's pretty good though. I like it. I definitely like it. It's not bad at all.
Cool.
Cool.
David, real quick, what are you having first?
I'm doing
and
the,
then you're
uh,
going to be doing a collection of drinks.
Yeah, I've got a bunch lined up here, Jody. It was like a Whitman sampler, and we were just picking stuff out.
So he's going to
upstairs.
try some presidential drum.
Doing that at some point.
And then because the coolest bottle on the market today is this California or Lost Republic. Now, the bottle's freaking cool.
I don't know, the chicken cock bottle with the
Bottle's cool.
chicken wire is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then some of the Midwinter Night Drum. He's going to try some of that. And then he's starting with
The Basil Hayden 10-year,
mhm,
which has been very nice so far. I get a butteriness on the front of the palate, and then you do get a tobacco towards the end, and it's a really nice transition. So enjoying it, and thank you.
yeah, you're welcome, bro. Rob, what about you, brother?
Tonight I am drinking some Smooth Ambler Big Level. It's a weeder. This is their first. This was their first in-house distilled. It's from West Virginia. So their other products that they do, the old Scout lines, are MGP and source product. This was the first one that they did. It was a 5-year minimum age statement, 100 proof. I kind of like it. You know, you get the wheat, you get the corn. I'm getting a really big cedar kick, especially on the nose, which is pretty good. But you also you still get that caramel and at the end of it. So I kind of like it. I know Jay had said there's some mixed feelings about it out there, but I don't mind it. You know, I've got to find something pretty bad to knock on it pretty hard.
So have you had the other stuff and
Yes.
the MGP, and how does this compare to it?
This isn't as good as their contradiction or their regular old Scout, but it's not something that I wouldn't say no to. You know, it's someone offers it to me, yeah, I'm taking it and drinking it. I think I paid $49 here in Ohio for that bottle. So I paid more for stuff I don't like. So
Nice.
Fair perspective.
All right, Mr. Whitehat, don't touch my helmet. What's going on?
Well, tonight I am drinking this bottle that I just walked past at Providence Liquors here in.
That's the German rye that you talked about.
Yeah, Eiffel Whiskey is the distillery out of Germany, and I'm like, just caught my eye. I'm like, German rye, and it's 90% German rye, 10% malted barley, and it is the most interesting rye whiskey I've ever had. Somebody in the chat said interesting good, and very, very good. It's there is no other whiskey I've ever had that came anywhere to tasting like this. So like on the nose, you know, when you get other rye whiskeys, you get wheat whiskeys, you get that kind of a hayfield smell. This one is more like walking in the woods rather than in a hayfield or something. The spice note is even different. It's more nutmeg than you generally get, kind of a cinnamon or a pepper on a higher rye whiskey. So it's very, very good, very unique. So anybody sees it, grab a bottle because it's worth it.
Was there
Walk in the
plenty of them?
woods.
Was there
Did
several?
walk in the woods? Like, did you carve your name and a heart on a tree with that?
Absolutely.
But on a real note, was there plenty at the Providence store?
I think there was at least 4 or 5 more bottles. I didn't really look real deep. I just was walking past and saw it and went, huh, what?
So they're
Going back to the topic on, if you don't, what's your comfort level of spending if you've never seen it? It's definitely was, it was a $65 bottle, which is more than I like to spend if I don't have some kind of idea, but
Mhm.
it just, the whole concept of a German rye whiskey was just too much to pass.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That would be interesting. Billy, welcome to the show, man.
Billy's muted.
What's going on,
Anyways.
guys? How's everybody?
What's
Hey.
up? I can't tell where you're at. So are you having a drink or not? Are you like in a coffin? Are you in a safe spot?
I'm gonna be here for a little bit. So I had a beer. I had a nutty brunette, which was really, really good. Celebrating. This is the
Twin Peaks.
second restaurant here in Fort Lauderdale that the sauce is premiering at tonight. And by the grace of God, I delivered 600 bottles tonight.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is that what I heard you clicking on like every 2 seconds earlier today when we were talking on the phone?
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
It's like they're putting up an
Snapping bottle tops.
I
Is
don't
that
know.
Twin Peaks, Billy?
Well, it's kind of like that, but it was funny. I mean, listen, you got to be careful what you wish for sometimes. I talked to this guy on Sunday, and he called me Monday. He's like, "Yeah, I want 200 bottles of each one of the barbecue sauce." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I want 200 bottles of each one." I was like, "Okay." Immediately hung up the phone and started making sauce. So, but I'm having some beer. I'm gonna be here for a little bit. Jay, it's good to see you back.
to you, buddy.
So, other than that, how's everybody doing?
Doing well. Doing well.
Fantastic,
Yo.
my friend. Congratulations on the great sale.
Yes, thank you.
Good stuff.
All right. So we do have two very interesting topics today that I'm gonna have Jay introduce to us as a group, and then we're going to talk about them. But I do want to make sure we put a tagger out there. This came from his personal page that he created, which is the Nashville Bourbon Barrel. And if you're not a member of that, you should definitely, if you live in the Middle Tennessee area or surrounding areas, because it's a great group with a great group of guys, and a lot of interesting things you can become involved with the group, to include monthly tastings at people's houses, and then of course it's the only place you're going to find where, in my opinion, where there's going to be tastings that are identified, and we can get out there immediately to any of the stores to try something new. So Jay, thank you again for being on the show, and go with the topics.
Thanks for having me. So this comes up all the time in all kinds of bourbon groups. I know you guys are going to be familiar with this, but we all tend to go to these liquor stores, and we all tend to, grab a bottle. Jeff brought it up. Rob has a great example of something we're gonna be getting to in a minute. But you see a bottle sitting on the shelf. They don't have a taster open, or it's a store that doesn't do tastings, heaven forbid. And you say, "I'm gonna go ahead and pull the trigger on this. I'm gonna buy this bottle." You get it home and you try it out, and you're like, "This is the worst thing I've ever had. This is a combination between old gym socks and the dishwater that my wife just had left in the sink. And I'm never going to buy this again." So the question is, do you get mad about that? Do you go on a hate-filled rant in your local bourbon group about how bad this particular brand or expression of this brand is? Do you get really pissed off when that happens, when you buy a bottle and it doesn't like it? And then, as a side note of that, do you never buy that again? Do you never try it again? Maybe they come out with another, batch the next year, the next season, and do you just never try it again because of that experience? So that's topic one. And then topic two is, what do you think the three characteristics of bourbon are that draw you back to it time and time again? What are those three characteristics? And don't just say, it's the smell, it's the taste, it's the price. Those are all very generic. There's got to be real logic in your mind of what brings you back to a particular bourbon, a brand or a bottle or an expression that you really that envisions for you what bourbon is. What are the three things that make that a bourbon that you want? So 2 topics, and whoever wants to go first.
Well, I dig it. I don't mind jumping in there with the when it comes to like buying things. That's happened. David's been the recipient of that award, where I have bought something that was, I mean, and we've talked about this kind of almost ad nauseum with the show. Sometimes you let your liquor store win, and then sometimes you go back weary of like, I don't know if I'm gonna let them win again, you know. But you still try to do that, and it's like, for my example is Kentucky Par. It's not that it was bad. It's not $129 bottle, and I felt like I just got molested by the liquor store guy when it should have been sold to me for about what, $50 would probably been
Probably about 50,
right.
I think it's what it's worth.
And then I felt that way
For
with
the
also,
taste, yeah.
what's it called? Not Backbone, but the other one, Bone Snapper,
Snapper.
Rye. Like I'm trying to expound on my rye knowledge, but that is not one that I would recommend to anybody personally. It's just tastes like fire. And if you're into fire in your mouth, that's totally cool. But that doesn't take me away from the line. And it also wouldn't take me away from trying it with like an old fashioned, because I bet that would be freaking solid with an old fashioned. So that's my, hopefully that answers your question with that. However, when you look at tasting notes, for me, the top one is always going to be complexity. I know that's an adjective to use to describe many different things. But for me, and I've talked about this ad nauseum on the show before too, is that when you can take Stag, and that includes 2019. I personally like 19, quite honestly, as well as I like all the other ones, because it has a very interesting taste. It has, you can get the same basic tasting notes that you get all the time. But if you took this small group right here, I'm willing to bet that we would all taste something a little bit different. And that makes it unique, and it makes it where you can have a great conversation. So part of the complexity is not only just having different tasting notes that we'd all pick up, but also the conversation that can be had with it. The other things for me for bourbon, if you've ever had a really young bourbon, you can taste that where it doesn't have that wood taste, like it doesn't have that oak. So for me, it has to have that, like it's been there and it's home for a little while. So that's important. And then one that I rarely get, but I love, is cherry. If I can find ones that have the cherry taste more frequently than what I have found, that's one of the things I just love. So hopefully that answers your question. And those are my three favorites. I don't care who goes next. If it's,
I would say on the first one, I personally don't understand getting that upset about stuff. I've gone out, I've got stuff in the cabinet back here that I looked at and says, man, I haven't tried that in 6 months, and it's, still a mostly full bottle. It obviously just didn't do it for me. But even when I, bought Creek water, and it is the only bottle I have actually poured down the drain, a literal drain pour.
Also Creek.
Not even mixing it with Coke or ginger ale could make that stuff drinkable. Why get mad at, so some money was wasted, big deal. It's, the wasted money's not worth the anger and the emotional energy. It's just let it go pick something up you like and enjoy it.
But would you try it again?
Not Creek water. Not Creek water. It was that bad. Yes, there are other things I taste and I'm like, no, I just don't care for it. But down the road, might not. Maybe it was the particular blend. Maybe it was how long it had been aged. And as it gets more age, maybe it'll change. There's a lot of reasons why it might change. But I might not buy it again until I've tried it somewhere else. But again, it's not worth getting angry about. There's just too much else to do in this world, and to spend, you've already spent cash on it. Why spend anything else that's infinitely more valuable on it.
And you don't go around bashing the brand, right? I mean, if someone asks you your honest opinion, you would tell them, but you don't go around going, "Oh man,
Yeah.
you tried that creek water. I can't believe you bought that bottle."
I might, if I was with somebody and if it was a group and we're kind of cutting up too, I might cut up about it, but I'm not going to be serious about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Like,
serious about Fossil
There's
Creek.
probably somebody out there. There's
Fossil Creek
probably-
is horrible.
What's that?
Fossil Creek. My buddy Marky Mark sent us all, not all, but several of us some samples. And the only place that would made a great home for is what it tastes like, which was night crawlers. Like I would put some worms in that and it would be, they would live and prosperous and live in the American dream in that bottle of Fossil Creek.
Let me go get my sample. I still have it.
But,
good,
yeah,
Mark.
You are not missing anything, brother.
yeah. But anyway, on the
But the thought counts.
yeah, on the second topic, so for me, the bourbons I go back to are the ones that, to the best way I can put it, to me, have kind of a heavy or a thick mouthfeel. So, the Elijah Craig, you talking about standard ones, you talk about, every day you can grab, one that used to be this way, and I wish it still was, E.H. Taylor, Stag Jr. Those are some that typify that heavier, thicker, and to me, that kind of goes along with the concept of complexity. There's layers to it. That's what really grabs me and brings me back. And if I don't get that, I generally am not crazy about going back. So, and that's, I mentioned Elijah Craig, and that same, what I would consider level of bourbon, though you can't find anymore, Buffalo Trace, regular Buffalo Trace. I will admit, I will say it's a good bourbon. I haven't bought one in 2 years, I don't think, because it's just not, I like, if I went up there and there's a Buffalo Trace and there's an Elijah Craig, I'm going to go for the Elijah Craig every time, just because of the way it feels, the layers that it puts in my mouth, and just the things that I pick up from that bourbon. And so I'm not the reason you guys can't get any of the Buffalo Trace out there. That's it.
Well,
I can get you Buffalo Trace if you need it. It's
yeah, for me,
fairly abundant near me.
So
I think the only thing I've come across that
what you
I
got, Billy?
wasn't all that thrilled about was the new riff. I'm not gonna bash it. I didn't drain pour it. It made a great marinade for pulled pork. To kind of help give it some flavor. And I actually put some of it in a bottle, in a squirt bottle, with some apple juice. And as the pulled pork and the ribs were finishing, I kind of misted my meat with that, and that's what it went to. I wouldn't bash it, but I can't say I would go back to it. It wasn't terribly expensive, but it was just very, very young.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna bash it because some people like it. I wouldn't tell somebody not to buy it. I would just give them my honest opinion of it, and that would be it. But
I
I'm
totally
very
agree with
fortunate
you.
not to have really wasted my money on something that I say I just haven't liked. I've never had the Joseph Magnum, but something tells me I'm not gonna enjoy it.
Nope.
And from what I understand, the couple of times I've seen it at like Total Wines, it was like $115.
Yep.
And I definitely wasn't gonna do that. So yeah, that would be it for me.
I would tell you that Joseph Magnus is one outside of Fossil Creek that I will never consume ever again.
Which ones have you had?
Hold on, let me go to my very bottom shelf.
Oh Lord.
That's
He's going
Wait a
under the
minute,
bottom
no,
shelf.
I actually gave it away.
You gave it away.
I gave it away to White Mark.
was it just the standard Joseph Magnus?
No, it was the cigar.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, it was horrible.
So is that why?
Boom!
White
Yes.
is back?
Sorry,
Because the Preds are playing.
my dog.
He
My
saw a
dog set
squirrel.
up.
He saw a squirrel. That's what happened.
Oh, I thought the Cats were playing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the
We're
Predators
playing the
are
Dirty
on
Birds,
over there. Yeah.
the Screaming Hawks. So
All right.
Sorry.
That's why he put me in the host seat, because he was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be distracted this
yeah,
whole night.
and the
So he's
TV's
like,
right here.
I
and
need
the
someone to
lights
keep us
right
on
here.
track, but that's not working out either. Mark,
bad
what
of
were
a
you saying,
goal.
man?
All right. So I'm not sure if Billy was finished, but so
my
in
bad.
terms of personally, I hate the concept of complaining about the drain pours and stuff. You guys have seen me. I'm in a million different bourbon groups. I'm for every 10 that I'm with you guys in, there's probably another 10 that you don't see. I feel bad for Chuck, because Chuck and I have to be in about 30 together. So I feel bad for
About
Chuck.
right.
Yeah, and I really feel bad because I pulled Chuck in the DC groups. That's even worse. But oh yeah, there's several that I've purchased that I didn't like. So for me, I typically try to wait a few weeks and come back to it. And I usually try to give everything 3 pours. And unfortunately, most of the things that I don't really like have come from smaller distilleries, which irritates me because I really want to like their stuff. But yeah, now there's one kind of major that people love. I've mentioned on the show. I won't talk about them again. That people rave about. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Maybe just a little the novelty of the bourbon. I'll leave it there. Go back and look at our shows if you want to know what it is. I'm not going to tell you what episode. You go back and look and figure it out. But
that's because we're at 107.
Hey.
Today is 107.
You got 106 to go figure it out. But yeah, I'm not really one with this.
Or join the VIP chat, and then you can figure it out there.
Yep. But yeah, I'm not really one for the drain pour thing. Again, I don't knock anyone that does, just not my thing. Typically, again, if I'm in one of the 50 million bourbon groups, if I post it, at a minimum, I like it. If I love it, you'll definitely know I love it. If I don't like it, you won't never see that bottle again.
What happens when you send it out to everybody else? Apparently,
no, I don't do that. But I mean, again, no, there's a couple, and there's 2 bottles that we all agree on. I think I would say probably 90% of real bourbon drinkers, there are 2 bottles that we all agree on. I'm not going to name the 2. Everyone knows the one. I don't need to tell you what the one is. Every real bourbon drinker knows there's one bourbon that we all, as soon as we see somebody with a picture of it, we say, it's a great bottle. And then we stop there.
And number 2 is Fossil Creek, right?
Now, for that actually leads me to Jay's second question, which is what pulls me back. So I can't use the word complexity because really that's what it is. So I'll use the word blend. For me, that's the key. In that, I don't care what the proof is. As I mentioned before, I'm not a proof whore. Sorry if that offends anyone. Some people have to have a higher proof. They got to have a higher proof. And a lot of people think because I smoke cigars, I got to have a higher proof. I don't. This right here that I'm really, really enjoying is a 90 proof. I just got this in the mail today. And yeah, I also at one, you don't hear me complain about neck pours. This is bourbon. You can do this.
that's what I told people.
The
They're like,
different
oh,
topic.
neck pours, like shake it. You're done. It's done.
Yeah, it's not soda. It doesn't explode on you. It's not champagne. But anyway, that's another thing you won't hear me complain about neck pours. I mean, I just, again, the complexity. I don't care what the proof is. I just like a good blend of whatever flavors I'm expecting. Sometimes I expect, sometimes I don't. As an example, if I'm drinking, we talked about Stag and Stag Junior. If I'm drinking Stag Junior, I don't have an expectation on it except the heat. But what I love about Stag and Stag Junior is the heat is not that strong that it deters me from having flavors. I mean, you know what?
I agree with that.
It's like
Batch
hot
what,
peppers.
Yeah, batch 15 is what, 133? And I still sip and you know, I have to be careful when I go out. I can't sip that because 9 times out of 10 I'm driving. And if I haven't eaten by the third one, I'm like, okay, I'm actually seeing the antlers. The antlers are coming at me like Rudolph. Be careful with that. But
those called lights off the
lights,
pro
there you
car.
I like that. But yeah, I mean, it could be a 90 proof. And again, if I'm expecting, if I know the mash bill or familiar with the mash bill, then yeah, I expect it to be high wheat. If I know it's a wheater, then I'm expecting wheat. I'm expecting a little sweeter. And I guess that's probably why I like this one so much. Yeah, okay, it's a high wheat. I know it's a wheater. I'm expecting it. And I sat there and I got sweet. I was like, okay, this is good. It's like, what am I? Grapes. It's like, damn, I'm getting grapes. I can actually taste the grapes. And I like when I can get those grapes. I love when I get that caramel. I'm not a big fan of butterscotch, but if I get a caramel and corn balance with the butterscotch, I like that. So for me, again, it's just, I can't use complexity, but I like the blend. I just need the blend to be equal. I don't want too much of anything. The only thing I want too much of is if I'm sipping double oak, then I want heavy wood. Otherwise, I don't want overpowering wood, nothing else. I don't want all ethanol. If there's too much ethanol, all it is alcohol. I might as well drink moonshine, and I'm gonna be pissed if I pay $75 in any store for moonshine that I could get. I could have Jody meet it with my cousin and send me a gallon for $25.
As long as the DEA or ATF is not there, I'm down with this visit.
It's okay. I know a guy. We'll get you hooked up.
We don't partake
Better not
in
be James.
illegal practices.
No.
Like our moonshine.
So I like
I know a guy that's reliable. I'll say that.
I like Mark's take on that, because you're right. We talk about the complexity, we talk about the mouthfeel, all that, but if it's complex, but the flavors don't mesh right, it's not going to bring you back. It has to blend right as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I've mentioned this before, and the McKenna 10-year is absolutely, to me, it's undrinkable. I couldn't do anything with it. I couldn't mix it with anything. And I forced myself, because it was not an inexpensive bottle. I forced myself to actually try to find different ways to finish the bottle. If somebody posts, oh, I bought this McKenna 10-year, and I'm like, you should have left it at the store. That's the extent that I'll go to it. Just leave it there. It's not good. You made a bad choice. But at the same token, I'm not going to go around and just out of the blue, like a problem and just scream out, McKenna's horrible. I'm not that type of guy. But I probably will never go back to a McKenna, whether it's their black label or their 10-year. I don't care. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take the chance again. It was expensive enough that I didn't like any single pour of it, whether it was neck pour, whether it was 6 months later pour, whether it was with Coca-Cola, whether it was with whatever the F. I just couldn't drink it. I even tried mixing it with my wood chips for my smoker, and it tainted the meat. Like Billy said, he tried to mix it, mix up some of his. I couldn't even do that. I could taste it. I was like, I can't even eat this. I can't even. So I just gave it to the girlfriend, and she loved it. But
at the same time, John, if you're at somebody's house and they had some other expression or some other bottle, would you, since you're not laying your money out, would you at least give the others a try? Would you go back and see if this particular one was different than the rest of them?
Well, I understand the McKenna 10-year. It's small batch, so every handful of months or so, the flavor profile is going to be a little bit different. Not a chance I'm taking. But if somebody were to give it to me for free, like you're saying, hey, I'm over at Jody's house and he's got 10-year from this month, kind of a thing, because I bought my 10-year the beginning of last year, so 14 months or so ago. So his bottle would be different than mine. I probably would try it, but not coming in with high expectations, and that might even hinder my or jade even the palates. I hate this, and I drink it, I'm like, yeah, no, I still hate it. I might put that stigmata in my head. Yes. So I may not do that just because of the stigmata portion of it. Another one's a Colorado Colorado local one. They're out in Palisades, and they're Peachtree Distilling. And I hate to call out names because I know people are trying to make a living with this and make a good product, but that was another one that I just couldn't. That one was a drain pour, and I'm not even joking to you. I couldn't. Like I could almost. It brings back, like when you're a kid and you ate something and it was, or you swallowed a bug because you're pedaling your bike through the backwoods. A bug goes, like it tastes like you could still flip and taste it. There at the distillery, they mixed it with drinks, and I think they knew how to cover up the bad taste of it, so it wasn't bad. But when I bought a bottle and brought it home, again, it was one of those ones I just could not stomach, couldn't get past 2 or 3, sips of it, and it had to go. It was see ya, bye. But on the flip side, second part of this is one of the things that kind of brings me back to the same one. I don't have a very complex taste, so meat potatoes kind of a guy. I'm okay with that. You add some extra spices in it. I might taste it, I might not. I don't know. So I can't say complexity of a bourbon or a whiskey really brings me back, but it's more along the lines of I keep thinking of the Simpsons episode where it tastes like fire. If it doesn't taste like fire, I will most likely go back to it. But my favorite one is the Stranahan's Diamond Peak, and it's the Black Label Stranahan's. It's a Colorado. I know not a lot of you guys can get it. I think I sent Jody one, and it's a 4-year. It's their own distillate. It's 4-year aged. I don't know. It's a single malt, but they stopped actually making it, or stopped, I guess, producing it, because they're changing some of their mash bills and some of their aging processes, so you can't get it anymore. But it's one of the ones that throughout the course of history of my bourbon drinking career, if you will, which has only been 5 years or so, maybe a decade, that's one of the ones that I kind of keep going back to, just because of, it's 94 proof, I think. So it's not low, but again, it's not over the 100 cusp. So it doesn't have a lot of fire, doesn't have a lot of the spice burn in the back end. It does have a chocolatey kind of taste to it, a little bit apricot. The availability at the time was, and the price point, $70 and you can find it at almost every store. And it was great on the rocks. It was great neat. It was great mixed. Not that I would want to mix that one, but if I was in the hankering for it, I could definitely do that. It was just one of the ones that I would just continually go back and get. Once I heard last week and a half ago, they stopped producing it or stopped releasing it. They kind of replaced it with the Blue Peak, which is their blue label. I went out and I hunted down every single Diamond Peak I could find in my local 10-mile radius of liquor stores, and bought every freaking one of them I could, just because, like I said, it's something you can't get again. So I just went ahead and I will be drinking them, David. But all but one. I'll drink all of them but one.
How many of those are you going to open in your life?
I have 9 of them right now. So
oh my God. I wish I had room for 9 extra bottles that I wasn't planning on opening. But yeah, do you?
All right. So who do we leave off on? Chuck, what about you? I'm curious to find out what your thoughts are on purchasing something that you may have paid a little much for it and not a real big fan, and also your notes, those preferences that you have. Go with it.
Okay. As far as the first question and paying a little too much for, this was around $44.99. It's Broken Barrels Mizunara cask whiskey. Basically bought it on a whim, and it was just staring at me for a while every time I walked into the store. And it was sitting on a barrel, and I just kept looking at it, and I said, okay, let me pull the trigger on this and buy it. So I did. And the first time I tried it, it just tasted like everything was disconnected. It's a blend of Tennessee whiskey and Kentucky whiskey. And as well, but it tastes like it's doctored with flavor as the how do I say this? The wine of Mizunara, the flavoring is just, it tastes like it's been put in there artificially. And it's very off-putting. And will I go back to it and try it again? Absolutely. I'm not mad about it. I purchased it. Not mad at all. Maybe it was just a bad day, but that was
emotion.
I'm sorry.
I just said that's a useless emotion to be mad.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't,
that's me.
Who has, I don't want to be mad at myself, or, I mean, I could be, but why bother? It's $40 some that, I may try it again down the road. Maybe I could add water to it. Maybe I could add a little of ice. Try it that way. As far as the second question goes, I'm going to say versatility as far as how you drink something is, I'm a big fan of. Like, say, for example, the Stellam Bourbon. I've tried this by itself neat, and it's excellent for the price point. And if you don't want to spend the $75 to $99 or $100 and some dollars for the barrel spirits products, try this first. Give it a shot. It's well worth the price. I've done some tasting notes on it in the VIP, of course. But what I did was I got a lot of marshmallow on it as far as the taste. A lot of fruit. I think it was raspberry, cranberry, oak, marshmallow fluff, which was very good. Little caramel. The finish is medium on this one. Little peppery, where the pepper bounces off your tongue and then goes to an apple, almost like a hard apple candy, like a sour apple, maybe.
Okay.
And it's very good. And as far as versatility goes, to get back into that question, I'd rather have something like, the Stellam, where it can be drank neat with a little water or a little ice. So where somebody who isn't very well versed in bourbon can drink it without burning their tonsils. Especially this product, since it's a barrel proof product, this would be a perfect for somebody to dip their toe into that arena. Now, as far as the second thing, because I think we had 3 items that we needed to talk about, the drinkability, and I'm going to say complex, the complexity of the bourbon. I like to taste, the flavors. Basically, it's like a journey. Vanilla, caramel, whether it be fruit, honey, spices, things that you can remember from when, say, you were at your grandmother's, mother, mom and dad's house, wherever it may be. Bring back memories. That's always something I'm looking for.
Your grandma gave you bourbon too?
Oh, absolutely.
Rub it on those teething gums.
Oh yeah,
that's right. That's right. Exactly.
I got the SoCo on the gum. That's probably how I got started.
So what's Grandma Triple H drink?
Grandma Triple H used to drink vodka.
Oh.
And beer. Yes. But what I do is I have a gauge or a benchmark where I benchmark. My benchmark is George T. Stagg or E.H. Taylor barrel proof products, which are in my opinion, are very similar. And I'll go back to say, let's say, for example, the 2000 GTS, or I'm sorry, 2010 GTS, where it has very rich tobacco notes, cherry, leather, not astringent at all for being, what is it? I think it's 144. I think it's 144, maybe it's 142. I can't recall. But it's a very good drinker. And I basically benchmark benchmark everything off of that product. And that's about it.
Well, cool. I think we have Jeff and Rob left. Is that correct? Or Mark and David? Mark, have you went?
Yeah, I've already had something. I've got an observation after everybody's
okay.
done.
Let's do Rob and David then.
So for me, and something that I'm going to go drop a lot of money on. Before I drop a ton of money on something, or a big money on a bourbon, and we've talked about coming back and talking to the group and finding some things out and comparing palates to other people. I'm actually sitting here looking at my list because I'm getting to that point where I've got to keep a reminder of what I've got on my shelf at home. And yes, John, almost all of my bottles are open. Sorry, little shot. The one of the ones I've spent the most on has been the Booker's Little Book Chapter 4. It came in at $124.99. And I'm not saying that it was okay.
Way too much for her.
But it wasn't $124 or $125 bottle of bourbon to me, in my honest opinion. Maybe at 60 or 70 bucks. Oh, okay. Gotcha. But I didn't see it as something. I'm probably not rushing out to do the chapters this year.
I'll be honest with you. I really like the chapters.
Spend that this year.
I really like the chapters. I really do. Personally, they have a nice, that's a nice blend, in my opinion. I don't know if it's worth the price point.
Right.
So I'll just say that on the front end. That is a damn good, in my opinion, that's a damn good dram to have. Definitely sipping around Christmas time when you have a campfire or a fire going in your fireplace or whatever. And you're sitting around with your family and friends. That's a good one. That's a real good one, in my opinion. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay. But I'm also, I'm not going out and trashing a bourbon to bourbon groups. It's just not. Hey, and we've talked about it. Everybody has their own taste. Something I may hate, somebody else may love. John doesn't like the McKenna 10-year. I happen to like it. I'm not. It's not a drain pour for me. I've got 2 bottles on my shelf at home. Partly because I knew that they were going and they were starting to fly, so I may use one as trade bait. But I like it. It's not bad to me.
Reek got me on a.
Everybody has their own taste. So,
I was just saying, because Jay knows who I'm talking about. The owner of Elixir, who is a fantastic guy.
We need to meet him.
One time I had the opportunity, he had some Blantons. I was like, hey, I want to buy some Blantons. He's like, you got to take some, he got me twice. He got me on McKinnon 10-year one time, store pick. And then the second time he got me was on Raffins or Waffins or whatever the hell it's called.
Waffins.
Which was also equally as disproportionately shitty. And so
I have not tried. I'm scared to buy it.
But either way, he was like, I definitely sell you Blantons, but you got to buy this too. And I'm like, bundle deal. I see what we're doing here. But anyway, yeah. So I've been there. I know what you're talking about. But sometimes you got to let the liquor stores win. And David took home you took home one of them. I don't know.
Yeah, that was the Kentucky Par.
No, but you took home one of those as well. Out of those 2, because we had them here. That was when we first.
Waffins?
It was either Waffins or the McKenna 10.
I didn't get the McKenna.
I think I remember you guys talking about the Waffins, and you may have given them.
Might have been the Waffins. I don't know. I don't keep, I don't, as has been amply demonstrated, I don't keep a completely accurate record.
Yeah, like everything we're trying
Internally,
tonight, everything we're trying tonight, he's like,
he's going to use this all against me. I
You're
should
like-
take a picture so I can be like,
I
oh
can
yeah,
take
I
a
did have that. For myself, when it comes to like negative experiences, there's really exactly one time I was like, I straight up should not have bought this, and I will tell other people not to get this. And it was, or almost everybody, I would say, it wasn't a bourbon, it wasn't even a whiskey. It was the Plantation Overproof Rum. It is a $29 rum that is 138 proof, and it is. I have had White Lightning moonshine that is, and sorry to use the term, but smoother, more palatable, tastes less like straight up
I got some.
ethanol.
You want to try it?
No, I'm good.
I got some White Lightning moonshine.
It's like real White Lightning,
Yeah.
like as in illegally produced.
No, I'm not going to ever agree to that on.
To me, it's not moonshine unless it's illegal. But anyway, and it was just really hard. And even then, it was not a drain pour, but I couldn't get through it. My little brother, who normally drinks, the plastic bottle
Wow.
whiskey kind of things, like he didn't like it either. Like he couldn't.
What is? I can't see.
There's some glare on the screen there. I can't really tell.
150.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
super clear right there.
That's
And-
that's super duper.
Is that what you and you
that's-
just recently got on your trip?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was talking about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
remember that.
moonshine
It's
distillery.
actually for a moonshine, it is really, really good. You would not
See,
guess.
that's what
You would not
intrigues me.
guess it was 150.
Because
No.
most of it's like this they call it moonshine, but like you taste it and like this is like a it's really more like a liqueur is what you're getting most of the time. And that's not what I want in a moonshine. But anyway, neither here nor there. That Plantation Overproof, I didn't like it. I still didn't pour it down the drain. I found stuff to cut it with. It stayed with me a very long time before I got rid of it. But the other negative, I might have to try that. The other somewhat negative feeling or emotion that I get is if I pick up something off a shelf, whatever I paid for it, and I'm like kind of disappointed. I'm like, right next to that thing on the shelf was this other thing I could have taken home instead. And I'm mad at myself now because I would be so much happier with this in my glass than what I've got right now. That is the only real regret that I get. And that's, it's first world problems kind of thing. Like I'm not
Well,
real
the
mad at
entire
myself.
bourbon world.
This
first
entire
world
thing is
problems.
first world problems. Let's be,
I mean,
let's
remember when I
be
used
fair,
to
okay.
when I used to get upset because our live feed would have bandwidth problems.
I know.
Yeah, I mean that's totally first world issues.
completely first world. But
So as for taste,
as for taste, to me, we talked about elements of the perfect pour or what have you, and a lot of people have said complexity, and I'm feeling like that term's a little bit overused. I think I don't know if I've
really
the
used
correct-
it in the actual post.
I know I did,
Okay.
but it's been said a lot now. So I'm trying to find another way of describing it. It's the idea. It's you can keep coming back to the same thing, and you may have new and different experiences from it. Like I'll pour this again in a week, and I'll get something different out of it. Something that will, and I think there's actually Mark had talked about, I guess, variety or versatility to it.
Well, that happened tonight with the presidential drum. I have always talked about how much I love cherry. He had said that look on the finish end that you get a cherry taste, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have him. I'm gonna have another glass. I really am.
Yeah, I
And
got
so-
cherry off it. He didn't, and it's one thing when somebody else gets.
No, I
different
did.
notes.
I actually did on the
Oh, you
last
did as
one, yeah.
well. See?
Yeah.
And like, and if I go back, even just for myself, in a vacuum with no one else around kind of thing, and taste different things or smell different things, I'll be like, this is really cool. This is something, one of the things I love. One thing that comes to mind is like the smoke wagon uncut, unfiltered. I feel like every time I try that, I will probably get something different. Just because there's so much going on there, you might notice different things at different times. That's something I really would value in a bottle. And the two other things, and Jay, I already said it on your post, so I'll just say it quickly, is, one is like availability in terms of like, is this going to kill my wallet and do I have to hunt for it versus it, can I get this without, bending over backwards kind of thing. Like, I don't mind a little bit of work, but like, if it's outrageously difficult or super rare or allocated to get a hold of, like, it's not really going to be something I'm looking at as like a more or less perfect thing. The last element is company. And a lot of people, again, Jay, on your post said this, but like, and it's not just people who can sit here and go through tasting notes and have very refined palates and blah, 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 but someone who would just enjoy it or appreciate it. Like that's really nice. Even though I don't know anything about bourbon or whatever, like how that, I really enjoyed having it. And you get to have that moment with that person, whether or not they can articulate exactly all the things that they're experiencing with it. Like they're having a good time and you're having a good time. And there's a sense of camaraderie there. Like that's really important to me.
Dig it.
That's
Dig it. So the host that had generated this conversation, I want to know your thoughts, Jay.
Oh, well, you know me, I'm a lover. I love everybody. I don't dislike anyone or anything in a tremendous way. I don't have, deep. I just can't be mad. I'm not a mad guy. So that answers that, I mean, I'm a firm believer that you should try everything once and then try it again. Try it all a second or even a third time, give everything a chance, more than one chance, give it multiple chances. Willet Pot Still is the thing that started this entire conversation. Willet Pot Still. Big Level is another one that is in this same vein. You either
Jack Daniels
really,
is another one.
No, go away. Shoe
Somehow
fly,
he's
shoe fly.
developed the ability to mute you.
So you either you're it's very divisive. You love Willet Pot Still, you think it's great, or you hate Willet Pot Still. Well, the interesting thing about that Willet Pot Still is, and this is still the subject of a bit of debate about the source of some of Willet's products, especially the pot still, but the they had one flavor profile, they had one batch that wasn't very well received. Then they changed recipes, changed a little bit, and now they have another batch, and it supposedly is better. I personally haven't tried the new one, didn't really care for the old one, but I don't go around bashing it. So that's my whole philosophy is, don't influence other people. When somebody says, hey, I just picked up this bottle of Willet Pot Still, don't stomp all over. And if you pick up big level, I don't instantly go, oh, well, that's a tater. Oh, I hate name calling. So, that's my philosophy. So that's my thing on that. And then as far as what brings me to, back to bourbon over and over and over again, David, you took the words right out of my mouth. The thing you said about people, it's being with folks, the camaraderie that it generates. Yeah, there's some negative things. There's some hateful things that go on in the bourbon world. But what circles that doesn't go in, I don't know. But so you gotta look at the good stuff. You guys are all wonderful, and hanging around with you makes me happy. So I'm a weeder. I love weeded mash bills. What brings me back to bourbon, the second thing is always the sweetness of it. I like sodas, I like Kool-Aid, I like Gatorade, and I love the sweetness of a good wheat mash bill bourbon. I really do.
That's funny you bring that up because everything that you just named are all things I despise. Like I don't like sodas. I don't like Gatorade. I don't like Kool-Aid.
He's like, I don't hate anything. He's like, I despise this. I hate this.
Yeah,
I hate that.
I'm just saying these
are
are things like if people were to tell me if I go to their house and they're like, yeah, we have some soda, we have some Gatorade, we have some Kool-Aid. I'm like, I just have water because I don't need all that other nonsense in my drink.
What's funny is I dislike sweetened tea. I don't like sweet tea. So
I
love
that's sacrilegious here in the South because
I
love sweet tea.
You grew up in Lebanon. How did that happen?
The looks I get at restaurants. Yeah, what do you want to drink? I want unsweetened tea.
You
I get it. Unsweetened.
They're like
you
having
worked at McDonald's.
You touch my helmet
the sweetest
moments.
tea in the world.
That's the tea of Northern aggression.
They're like checking their hearing aids. Did I just hear you right?
Carpetbaggers, what they're calling you.
I wear that title proudly, by the way.
I'm sure you do, amongst
Good
others.
for you, David.
Yeah.
So I've got a bit of observation on the phenomena that brought this conversation up of hatred toward something, like Jay said. Somebody post, I got this neat bottle because the pot still bottle is awesome. It's the reason why I bought the only bottle of Willet Pot Still I ever bought, is because I walked up, I said, that's the coolest bottle I've seen. But so there's always going to be a level of troll online.
Yeah.
Any group you're in, there's going to be a level of troll where somebody is going to be that guy that's gotta stir the pot.
True.
Pun very much intended. Always intended.
Very nice.
Pun.
I'm glad it was there. Yeah.
But that's only a certain segment of the people. There's too much of this phenomena to go on. And I kind of looking back to me getting into bourbon and trying some stuff and younger in this journey and getting involved in groups, there's a bit of, I think more of it is more of a trying to fit in, trying to be heard, trying to
Be cool.
be involved, be cool. So
Be
it's
cool.
like, you see, you didn't like something, but you see some other people not liking something, you gotta feel like you gotta pile on.
Very true.
And I think as people mature in the hobby, mature a little bit more as people in the groups, get a little bit more sure of themselves, they don't always have to feel like they have to act like that. So I would say to people out there that do feel that way is do some self-reflection. And I mean, you're laughing, but in a way it's true. It's like,
No,
why do I feel like I have to jump on and pile on to somebody else's
Well, like the whole Blanton thing.
tries or
Like
ideas?
everybody hates Blanton's right now, and I
Yeah.
don't understand that. Like Blanton's is fantastic. Do I think it's
that
worth?
was-
Do I think it's worth $100? No, I don't. As a matter of fact, I put that in the chat one day when I had to come across a $105 bottle.
Worth whatever you want to pay for.
That's true. That's true. But since, let me put it differently, first world issue right here. When you have 8 bottles of it, and I don't really need another bottle,
How dare you have more than one bottle?
but I drink mine.
I'm gonna drink my strain of hands too.
No, you don't drink anything.
I
We need a
drink.
Jack, we need a video of you every day, just like opening one of the other bottles.
See, I don't.
And just
That's the other
take one
thing.
pour out
Although
of it.
secondary market,
Like,
they
look,
still
they're
sell
open.
for that price, depending on how many ounces are in it.
I don't. I don't. That's the other thing. I don't drink every day. It took me 2 weeks. I haven't had a drink of whiskey and bourbon in nearly 2 weeks. So
Sounds
So,
like a personal issue with you.
Chuck is
But
the
your
witness
part of
of
your
problem.
comment, Jody, kind of goes along with that. It's like people don't, especially when they're newer in the hobby, they don't know how to express that idea. The feeling of, I didn't like this is crap, it's overpriced, it's not worth it, comes out at, oh, that's crap. Whereas as you have more interactions with people, if you talk, as you listen a little bit more, you start to learn more of the nuance, that whole, because I'm in the camp of Blanton's is not really that spectacular. But I realize
Second dumbest thing I've heard tonight.
those are fighting words.
That's
But
not-
wait,
that's not-
But this is
Don't
a
touch
judgment-free
it.
zone.
Don't touch it.
That's not nice.
But my point is,
I said second. It's
I'm-
not like I called it the first dumbest thing I heard tonight.
That's a concession on his part.
but I do.
Jack
I
had that
do
comment.
I do realize that it's a level of
All day.
of the craziness people have gotten around Blanton's. And
But
it
Jeff,
comes down to, it's
yeah.
not worth the craziness,
Yeah.
but it still is a good bourbon.
Yeah. So what I'll add to that is I said something early, and I don't mean it to be a shot at people when I said real or experienced bourbon drinkers. I didn't mean that to be a shot, but I think most of us, at least here, we can tell. I can almost tell your level of bourbon experience by what you say about certain bourbons. When I hear people say, "Oh, Bland's is a drain pour. Bland sucks. Weller sucks. Anything Weller sucks. Stag sucks."
Somebody said stag sucks. That person needs to die.
I've heard that. And again, I've never heard.
I'm not even really
I
paying
know we
attention to
all
this
have different
conversation.
tastes. I have never heard
Blanton sucks. Change my mind.
Oh yeah, that's you guys know I can't stand that one. That's even worse for me. But I think those Blanton sucks, Weller sucks.
That's a Jack Daniels drinker. It says that.
Yeah, it's the same. Well, Jack, I've always heard back and forth with Jack. I go back 20 years. I've heard that, but I've never heard anyone take a dump on Weller unless they can't get it, except for SR.
That's
Now,
the
I know
thing.
a few
They
people
can't
that they'll take a dump on a special reserve, a
Good
few.
point.
But the only time I've ever heard anyone take a shit on 107 is when they can't get it. I've never heard any single bourbon drinker ever have a negative thing to say about 107. I don't care if it's a school talk.
Jeff didn't like it.
Yeah. Jeff, you'll be my first.
All right.
No.
So
But here again, I don't like
White
I
House
don't like
style thing.
107. Somebody gave me a pour of
You don't like 107?
I don't like 107. I had Weller 12 last night, and I'm not impressed with it. I'm not a Weller fan. But here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and dump on Weller. I'm not going to say Weller is crap, that it's drinkable.
Good for you.
Weller is not my cup of tea.